problems you have magnify over time. And by the time you're in your 30s, 40s, or even your 50s, you have a big, like my dad, he never dealt with any of his childhood trauma, and it shows. And I looked at him and I go, I don't ever want to do that. I don't ever want to do that or act this way with my kids or be, unnecessarily aggressive or mean, because this fool's always trying to challenge me to a fight when I was young. and partly is the time he grew up in. Everyone was always fighting, getting into brawls and stuff. But this man always would challenge me. And I'm like, and when I was 16, 17, I'm like, I don't want, you're my dad. I don't want to fight you. Something happened, like we're at a party, I was throwing a party. It was like a graduation thing, and he was drunk. He was on a little sick one,
Yeah.
And
had a few too many.
Yeah, right. And the slap, but it's not a slap. It's like a palm hit.
Yeah.
He did that, and I went boom, and I'm drunk, and he's taught me how to box my entire life. So I'm drunk, and I go off reflex, and he went boom. My head snapped backwards. I snapped forward immediately and jab right hand, and he fell into the sink. And I was like, oh no, I just hit my dad.
Oh, shit, now we have to fight.
And then, he gets up off the counter and he's, oh, you think you're a big man? You think you're a big man? And then my head went from, oh shit, I just hit my dad, to, oh fuck, let's go. Da-da-da-da. So
that's the drinks.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem with. See, this is what I say about liquor. Like in drinking alcohol in general, it takes away that cap you have on yourself, and you just get a bunch of fuck it in your system, where you're just like, fuck it, let's do it. All right, fucking go, bitch.
Yeah. So it ended up, we were out. Mind you, my next door neighbor's a cop, and it ended up getting to the point where we're outside. We're tussling in front of my neighbors, the cop guy. We're tussling in front of his. It had to be a cop. What's called, I'm lucky, because his motto is, when I'm off duty, I'm off duty. I don't give a shit. So I was lucky and blessed. But we get through this whole tussle, and my dad the next day comes to me and it's like, I'm so sorry, son. I know I ruined your party. This and that, apologize. And I was sitting there thinking, like, why? Like, if you're going to apologize to me, like, you obviously didn't mean any of the things you said. I didn't mean any of the things I said. Why would you do that? And so I started to think, like, oh, he's actually just drumming up old feelings that he's feeling from his past, not understanding that he is, and he's taking it out on me.
Yeah.
And, it's so funny because when you explain it, it's like, yeah, duh. Like, but when you're going through it, you don't understand. Like, it's hard to see, I guess. And so I'm very introspective about my own mood and my own like my own attitude, and I'll like, am I really feeling this way, or is something else bothering me? Right. It's something from this week bothering me, because I do my best to never be unnecessarily crude or mean to my kids or my wife. Like, I do my best.
That's a really good attitude to have.
Yeah.
I try to do something similar. I really do. Like, my oldest has anger issues, but I chalk it up to, he's just going through the changes. So, you know what I mean? Like, I really do try to just chalk it up to, like, he's in puberty, he's got the testosterone running, like, he doesn't really know what to do with it, so he just gets angry about little shit. I call him a grumpy old man. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm like, because here's the thing, like, okay, could I? Yeah. Dude, I could put his head through a fucking wall and nothing he could do to me. But would I know? Because, that's the restraint I have. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I could tell you, hey, you need to tone it down because you're doing too much. But would I go overboard and just be like, all right, no, I'm not doing that. That's stupid. That's weak people shit. Weak people do that.
Yeah. And then I did find out, like, I do have to balance that with some slight like roughness. I do have to be somewhat rough towards my kids because the world is a rough place, and I remember this because, like, my first job, right? I remember seeing someone get scolded and break down crying. I'm like, why are you crying? Like, they're just telling you what you did wrong.
Was it a man?
I've seen a man cry, and I've seen a man
cry before.
I've seen both cry, and I'm like,
from getting.
Bro, no, like
from getting scolded at work.
Getting scolded at work. Yeah, I saw a dude cry one time. His name was Chris. I can't remember his last name, but he was this big Jesus freak. And like we were working together on a project.
Oh, really?
And then the boss came up and just ripped him a new asshole, and he literally started crying. And I have a buddy named Anthony, and he walks up to him. He goes, "You suck that fucking shit up right now." He's like, "You're at work.
Yeah.
What the hell is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
He's, "Don't do that shit in front of me." Old school shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, it's such a toxic. This is a really toxic workplace. Okay, like I really don't want to be here. I'm really feeling like bad vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to keep. I like with shit like that. I just like, let's say I am feeling like, man, this some bull. You know what I'm saying? I suck it up. I just be like, and I deal with it when I get home. Like, I'll be like pissed off or do whatever I do and close. I don't try to let people, because people use that against you. So that's why I try to.
Yeah. So you can't be too soft. You can't be too hard. And then you have to know when someone's being unreasonable with you, and you have to know when they're actually just criticizing whatever you're doing wrong. Because I've never let anyone be unreasonable with me. I had someone like I may have told you this one. In my first job, the shift manager, whoever is right below the general manager.
I know.
He was relatively newish at managerial stuff, but he called me stupid. And me being the type of person raised by my dad, we're very overly aggressive sometimes. And so I just told him, like, look, Kenny, don't talk to me like that. If you talk to me like that again, I'll slap the shit out of you. I don't give a fuck what your name tag says. It doesn't protect you from me. Don't talk to me like that again. Cool? And he walked away. He'd never talked to me like that again. But, you know, I can't do that now. I won't do that now, because I was like, that's probably a little far. You know what I'm saying? I'll smack the shit out you. But I know the difference between when someone's being unreasonable and when someone's being just criticizing my wrongdoing at work. So it's like very social interactions are a very calculated, balanced. You gotta map. You gotta move through. It's weird. So,
yeah. I got fired from Walmart like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had I don't know if he was like a supervisor, if he was just a guy that had been here longer than me. But I remember we had an altercation where, like, he walked by, had one of those wet floor signs. Because I did night crew stuff. Like, I did the night crew buffing and all that stuff.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So, like, he walked by me with a sign, and he hit me with it. And I was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, hey, watch where you going. Turn around. And there was this new hire that was there. And he was like, what? And I was like, all right, bro. I was like, keep talking your shit. That's cool. All right. So, I left it alone, right? He went and told the general manager, like the manager of the fucking store, that I threatened to kill him.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
God.
He got escorted by police out of there to his car, and I got fired. And I was like, I never even said that. I was like, bro, just pull the cameras. Like, what are you talking about? He was like, oh, well, we asked the new hire, and she said you said it. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? So yeah, I never said it, because I would have admitted to it by now. That was years ago. But yeah, I stand by it. I never said that. I never said I was going to kill him. That's dumb, because if he came up dead next day, guess who's going to become fucking looking for?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I always thought, like, if you were going to kill somebody, why the fuck would you tell them you're going to do it?
Don't threaten them. This is stupid.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the thing that happened to me once.
Okay.
So,
I didn't. Well, damn. But
yeah, well, I'm banned from working for Walmart now. Like, I can never go back, which is a real shame, because I was really looking forward to putting on that blue vest.
Hell no, I
the
wouldn't.
bright ass blue vest they just switch it over to.
I was really looking forward to making
looking like the sky.
I was really looking forward to making $12 a day.
I would put my kids through working through a fast food joint than working through Walmart. Walmart sucks. They say a lot. I hear a lot of people who work at Walmart. Oh, I love working at Walmart. They're saying that. Just say that. I've experienced Walmart and it sucks.
I think my next job I want to work for a job that leans a little bit left.
Oh, okay.
There was a guy that did a study. I could pull it up for you. That he did a study, and it showed that most of the Democratic side of companies will focus more on the employees and retirement and stuff like that. You know, to help you, set you up for success. Whereas Republicans will focus more on business and investing in the business and keeping the business going. And it's kind of fuck what you heard. Yeah.
But which one would you rather prefer?
I would rather work for someone who's going to be looking out for me.
So Democrat.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I can pull it up for you if you want me to. I'll show you. He did a little study on it.
No, I agree.
I just gotta find it.
The big, you guys know the Big Five, the personality test.
Yeah, I've heard of there's multiple personality tests. there's one that like will show you like I think it's 3, 4, 8, 12 different faces. You have to pick the one you're most scared of, and then like it tells you about like what you're really like what you're afraid of, but it's more like what you're subconsciously afraid of. I've heard of that one.
I don't know
And then
either.
I've heard of a psychological test that's done based on shapes that will kind of help you understand childhood trauma or something. Psychology's weird. Psychology weird because like they're on the left side. They're just like, yeah, so we're gonna show you this. What does this look like? And you're like, oh, it looks like a peacock. It's like, okay, you were molested as a kid, weren't you? And you're like, what? Well, how did we get here? Like psychology's like, I don't know. There's a real science behind it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And it really like it helped, like kind of like astrology. Like people have a hard time understanding why astrology is so accurate. It's kind of the same way with psychology. It's like people are just like, because I remember when I was in a class a long time ago, and they were doing psychology stuff, and they were basically saying like some of the guys that didn't want to bring up a lot of the trauma they went through. It was a group thing. And they were like, don't be using that psychology shit on me. I'm just like, well, I don't think that's how it works. I think there's a science behind it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's weird.
It's like it's witchcraft.
Like it's like it's some kind of
I'm dead.
Yeah,
No, so there's five major traits of personality. It's there's openness, agreeableness, conscientiousness. What is it? Conscientiousness. I think creativity is one of them, and then like another one. And so with these 5 personality traits, you can guess what side of the political aisle you lean on, and it ties into something else called what is it? It's like a something set of virtues. Like there's like 9 virtues or something like that, and people who lean on the left side of the spectrum, the only virtues they match up with. You can find this on the Temple podcast. The people on the left side of the spectrum the only virtues they hold are compassion and what is it? Compassion and one other one that has to deal with like caring for people or something like that. And then the other virtues of the 9, I think.
Are you looking it up? Are you looking this up?
Oh, I'm actually doing one to see what.
Oh, to see.
To see, I was like, you know what? I've never done this. Let me.
Of the 9 of the virtues, I think the Republicans have, or someone who's conservative minded has 7 of the virtues rather than 2. It's weird because purity is one of them.
Yeah.
And purity has to do with conserving like tradition and things like that, and liberals don't believe in that, but they are high in like compassion, and so when you think about businesses, they're very.
It's been my experience.
Yes. So when you think about businesses, they're very what's it called?
It's been my experience, and I work now with a pretty much everyone up there is Republican. I don't know any of them that have a Democratic side. Maybe like a couple like the art guys or something might have a Democratic view or whatever, but majority of the managers up to the owners, it's Republican, and they have zero compassion. Yeah, they could care less what you're going through. They don't care. They just want you to get here, do the job, pay you as little as possible, and let you go.
Well, see, I don't know. That's that's the other thing is a person who's truly conservative believes that they should, like, someone who's of extreme value should be paid what they're worth. Like
now. I'm sorry, not trying to cut you off, but to be fair, that could be because we're in a recession and times are really hard and they're trying to buckle down. So I want to be fair. I don't want to say that they're just like that all the time because it's not. It hasn't been like that, a lot. This is a new thing that kind of popped up where they're just like, I don't care, get it done. I don't care, get it done. It could be because, like times are really hard.
And they got to keep it running.
Their field is slowing down a lot because of the recession hitting homes hard. Not everybody's remodeling, yada, yada, yada. It kind of trickles downhill from there.
Oh,
so it could be that. It could just be that they're that way because they're trying to keep afloat.
Yeah. Well, I hear a lot of shit's about to slow down. So I know it's going to be hard for
slow down.
Layoffs
for
are
what?
coming, huh? Because there's going to be less. Everyone's going to have less money, so there's going to be spending less money. Everyone's going to be penny pinching.
So in this article that he did, and there's something I was going to bring up. So it showed on the Democratic side, they focus more on not like, so when layoffs are coming around, Republicans lay off quick. Mm-hmm. They're just like, hey, you're not needed. Sorry, we can't afford you. You got to go. Business first. But on the Democratic side, it's like, okay, we need to take, we need to take the precautions to pay our people while taking less money. So it shows like, and he did it. He went really in depth on it. It's, I'll send you the article. How about that? And so you could kind of read through it. It was just one guy that did it. Just, I don't know what his, I don't know what his facts are based on. I don't really know because I only read snippets of the argument, or not the argument, but of the article. And I was just kind of like, I might read that later. It's one of those things where you're just like, I'll read it later. And I'll get back to it later. I'll read it later. But what he says is, as far as like, when it comes to basic policies and political content, it does make sense. It does kind of sound like, that'd pretty much be how it would.
Yeah, well, the what is it? The liberals are relied on to create businesses because liberals are very good at reimagining things. Or imagining things, so they're very
like reinventing the wheel.
Well, not reinventing the wheel, but like new innovation has always come from like a left-leaning person. Like innovation always comes from a left-leaning person, and then you need a conservative to run that company efficiently in order to grow it and build something better. So it's always you create a new system or a new variation of a system with a liberal, you have a conservative run it because they run things efficiently. And they're there to conserve whatever you just created.
Oh, but that would be the two working together, and that doesn't work in the United States.
I don't know, man.
Sorry. I know. In your perfect little independent world, it sounds great, but I don't think that it would actually happen. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I don't know. I think, like I said,
because in my company, it's run by an independent, i.e. me, i.e. Fred. So. We're the ones that, we think with compassion, but also use business sense. Like, I'm not going to go out and take an L, but I'm not going to not pay, our people if we had it. We don't have any people right now. Because I don't want to put up signs.
All right.
But the thing is so we always think like we put the company first, but then we also put us in the company. So I feel like there's a way to do both.
Yeah.
There's a way to take care of everything.
So what
there's enough money out here for you, especially if you're making millions every quarter.
Right.
Maybe you should take a pay cut for a little while and let the little dog eat.
So you're basically saying like let the CEO be down here with us for a while and not just chuck in all the money.
That's like some undercover boss shit. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm saying like it's not even so much that, but like think about if not even CEO. Let's go step down. Let's go CFO. Let's go organizer or whatever kind of shit you want to make up for whatever I guess title they want to hold, right? Let's just go to one of them. They're making $200,000-$400,000 a year in a big company,
right?
So if your company is struggling, maybe let's look at those options versus my option. I'm making $9, $9, $10, $11 an hour. Like, how am I hurting you? See what I'm saying? But when you go and you look at the guy that's making $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, and he's part of the big expenditure bill, maybe I'm not your problem.
Oh shit!
Maybe you're the problem. So it kind of goes down to that. That's kind of how I'm looking at it.
Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find it again. But there was this discussion on how CEOs are paid and why they're paid so much now, and why that the value that they're bringing to the company isn't actually the value that they're being paid for. Like they're being overcompensated for. Oh, dude, I'm gonna see if I can find the video.
I mean, let's be honest. You think?
Oh yeah.
Like who does the work? It's not the CEO.
Yeah,
the CEO is not down there rolling up his sleeves,
Right.
getting stuff done.
Right.
The CEO is off on business meetings trying to get more clients to bring more work.
Right.
The CEO is talking to his business friends, trying to figure out, where we could cut corners to save money, to save on costs.
Yep.
That's the CEO's job. I.e., I know I'm a CEO, so like I understand that. But the thing is I have to look at it from a standpoint of like I can't lose where I came from. So even though I didn't grow up in an ivory tower, I wasn't fed with a silver spoon. I didn't have a gold thermometer in my ass when I was a child. Mm-hmm. My point is this: it's like I know how people struggle, and I don't think like I'll give it to you an example. If I had a multi-million-dollar company, Whattup ENT decided it was just gonna blow, right? Mm-hmm. And it grew into this big multi-million-dollar business. The last thing I'm gonna give my employees is a pizza party.
Right.
You see my point? No, they need money.
Right.
We don't work for fun. We don't work because we woke up one day and decided burger flipping was our life. No, it's because we're in a crisis we're trying to get out of, and the only way we know how to do it is work. Now, we could go do street crimes, we go rob people and do all the most, and we'd probably get a lot more money, or we could do it the right way and work. Work, in my opinion, should be overcompensated. It should be like when you're working, you shouldn't have to struggle. Right. But it's not that way. Now, granted, I give you the title of the job might be a little different. I probably shouldn't have used burger flipping as an example. Like it's that's not exactly rocket science. But for our career, trucking is a perfect example. We kill ourselves day in and day out trying to get this stuff done, trying to get goods pushed across the United States, working long hours, and we get like maybe $1,500 a week. When the housing market is now triple what it used to be. Food has gone up and triple the price. Gas has gone up through the roof. Everything went up, but the pay stayed the same.
Yeah, I never understood
Meanwhile, all these big companies are raking in what? Record-breaking profits. So where's the profit for us, for the workers?
Where's the flow of the profit?
Where's that trickle down? It's not coming down to us. That's the big issue that I have with working in America. See, because when you go overseas, just go talk to some people that came from other countries, and they'll tell you, like, what are y'all doing? This is crazy. Like, these guys are making all the money. What are you doing? And then what do they tell you? They're like, well, if you don't like it, go create your own shit. Like, that's so easy to do on it, when you're making $15 an hour.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then the other thing.
And they've had it handed to them.
Yeah. The other thing is they're the government is their gatekeeper. That's the thing. So when they say, "Oh, go create your own," like that's really hard to do when the government's going to make me jump through all these loops to go create my own.
Exactly.
Right. So that's what I say. It's like
when people ask me what my left-leaning views are, now you know. Now you understand where I come from. So that's my whole point. I understand a lot about business. I understand that business has to survive. You know what I mean? But when business is thriving.
Well, the other thing too is, we'd be making a lot more if we weren't taxed.
Well,
if they didn't tax our income.
Well, that's the thing. I think that if you want to have an income tax, then why not have the companies cover the income tax? But see, then the problem with that is now that they're going to cover the income tax, they have to cover the cost. In order to cover the cost, they have to drive up the price. Hence, we're still in inflation. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, because see, the big thing about companies is they're not going to take the L. A company's not going to take a loss for you.
Yeah.
You're expendable. Yeah. The same thing you do, they could just get another guy to do. Doesn't matter if he's good at it or not. The work ethic in this country is gone. Yep. Forget the fact that you work hard. Forget the fact that you can actually do your job better than most. That doesn't matter anymore. What matters is, do you have the certifications? That's what matters. Because if you're costing them too much money, or even if you're not costing them money, even if you're just costing them time, or they have to take a loss on something, you're the first to go. Mm-hmm. And that's the problem. Because we're not the problem. It's the CEO, the CFO, and all those other titles they want to have that are raking in all the millions. Y'all are paying yourselves $500,000, $200,000, $15 million, $4,000 bonuses. All that money's going to you. It ain't going to us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. We're trying to aspire to be you. I'm trying to be you, bro.
Yeah.
The fuck you mean? Like, why are you taking me out at $24 an hour and you making like $3,600 a minute? Yeah. So you see my point? Like, then it becomes a problem because trickle down ain't trickling no more. The trickle stopped.
It's a short hill.
It's a very long hill.
Oh, yeah.
And them little pennies get to the bottom, and they hit us with the 3% raises. They hit us with the 50 cent raise. Mm-hmm. They hit us with you got tenure here. You've been here for a while. So I see you at 24. We're going to give you 24.35. What the fuck is 35 going to do when I'm getting taxed out my fucking ass?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See my point?
I kind of get that, yeah.
So that's what I mean when I say, I have leftist views, bro. Because you have, come on, let's be honest with each other. Like, how awesome is work? No one I know wakes up ready to go to work. because it's long and strenuous, especially in what we do. It's long days, it's fuckery all day, and then we get home, and then we have to deal with all the home stuff that we missed out on. You know what I mean? And then we go to bed, we get 6 hours of sleep, wake up, do it again.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah. And then at the end of the year, when we think, yeah, okay, now I'm gonna get a raise. I put in my work. I showed them what I can do. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you a 3% raise.
Or not even that. We'll give you a pizza party.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, we can't afford raises this year, but we'll give you, we're doing pizza parties for everybody.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
But if I had the raise, I could buy my own pizza.
right.
So it's like, what the fuck, bro? The money is not moneying like it used to. And I think that's my biggest problem with working in the United States.
well, the money was moneying when I got here. It's
Right.
just not moneying now.
And I think but that's the thing. Like when you have companies, again, that are raking in these billions in profit, why are they not paying their people more? Because they know they're the problem. Like y'all know y'all are the cause of the problem, right? Like you understand in your CEO brain that you're the problem. You're raising the price based off of what everyone else is doing. Because see, this is how it works. When fuel goes up, what happens? Trucks have to spend more in fuel.
Yeah.
So they can't take the L. Nobody takes the L, right? So they have to up their cents per mile, which makes freight go up. 71% of the tonnage runs off of trucks.
Yeah. Yeah. It
We
was like
learned
71,
that, right?
73.
71 to 73% of the tonnage runs on trucks. So now everything went up. When the consumer, let's say Ross or Walmart, whatever, when they get their stuff and they start to understand, like, oh, I got to cover the L, I got to hike the price, everything goes up. So now you have this thing where it's not even just that. It's Walmart's raking in money, Kroger's raking in money. What was the other one? It was all the S&P companies are doing really well, and they're bragging to all the stockholders, and they're bragging to all the people that invested with them, and they're like, yeah, we doing it, but everybody else out here is suffering, and everyone seems to be okay with this. Now the people, we're not okay with it, but we're not in their parties, we're not at their door.
Well, the thing is I think the people who can think for themselves are not okay with this, because I had a conversation with someone in line. We were at the DMV. I was having a conversation with someone in line, and they were talking about how bad the prices have gone up. And I go, yeah, da da da. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe they understand this and that, about politics and what's going on, and how they're doing this on purpose. And then she starts to and then she
Blame
says
the president.
Huh?
Blame
No,
the
she starts to
president.
praise the president.
Oh,
Like she's like, oh yeah, this is where our president, because she's from, I think, where is it, Delaware, that he's from, right? She's like,
I
oh,
have
yeah.
no idea
She's
what
like,
Biden's from.
that's where our president's from. That's where, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay, because in the same sense, like, I think the older generation is just the old guard, right? They don't understand like today's politics, because they watch the old school news. And like my parents are this way. Like, so my dad, he's a conservative who believes he's a liberal because he'll watch like CNN and things like that, and then tell me this, and I'm like, yeah, but that's wrong. Or he'll tell me things that he's heard, and I'm like, yeah, but that's wrong because of something else. I'll explain to him, and he's like, well, I only know what they tell me, and I'm like, well, that's the problem. You only know what they tell you.
yeah, that's a big problem with propaganda news, because
But-
most people only pay attention to what they're told.
But I think I don't know if it is a problem, but I don't know if that's something you can get out of, because I think eventually one day we'll become the old guard, and
Yep.
some kids are going to be telling us, well, you don't understand how they're rigging the code to do this or whatever to influence the way you think, and we're going to go, I don't know. Like,
I think when I get old, I'm going to be like, guess what? Y'all's problem now.
well,
I did my time. I did my 20s.
You could do that. I mean, and that's what I was thinking is like, because my dad, like he was I was joking with him the other day, and I go, I hope you're prepared to write me a check for all the extra money I got to pay in gas for voting for Biden. And he's like, and he goes, well, they're both corrupt. This and that. I was like, well, if you believe that, then why'd you vote for one over the other? Like, if you believe that. And he's like, oh, just because we had to get Trump out. And I'm like, okay. And now look where we're at now. And now look.
Yeah.
And so I think if you don't understand, and this to your point, because I might be that way too. If you can't understand what's going on, stay out of it. Stay out of it. Don't make it worse for the other people.
I can only see the thing is I don't think any of us understand what's going on. We don't really understand what goes on behind closed doors.
That's true too.
And the thing is like as much as we want to know, because see that was the thing, we looked towards the news and the media to tell us what was going on. That was their job. They were to go out there, find out the information, bring it back to us. This is what's happening. When you look at like the Walter Cronkites and the, you know what I mean, like the Diana Sawyers and.
But even those
Is
were
that her name?
propaganda.
Diane Sawyer? It's Diane Sawyer, not Diana. Sorry. But when you look at the old media, it was like that's how they were.
Mm-hmm.
They were just that way. You know, they were known like the most trusted man in news.
Yeah.
Then over time, somehow we got to this point where it's like all about propaganda now. It's none of it is true.
Well, I think
It's all washed.
I think over time we've just been able to access more information, and the more information you access, the more you can check against what their claims are.
I don't even think it's that. I really do think it's because rich people own the news. And so they're not going to tell you what they're doing. They're only going to give you an idea.
I agree with that, but I think we've had propaganda since the beginning of media.
I wouldn't say, well, maybe. I mean, like I said, it's possible, but like we'll never know.
All right.
We'll never really know what was true and what's not. That's where the conspiracy guys come in. That's where they start tying the strings together.
I mean, the what is it? The Gulf of Tonkin, the
Gulf of Tonkin incident.
Yeah. That was.
That was when what was the Gulf of Tonkin? Was that the Mesopotamia?
I think that was the one that got us into the Vietnam War, correct?
Oh, okay, yeah, no, that was different.
Okay,
Like
that
the
was
Gulf of Tonkin
that was
incident,
propaganda.
Yeah,
that wasn't real. It didn't.
Yeah, and it killed a lot of our grandfathers.
Yes. So, that was what year?
71.
71.
When did Vietnam start? 71, 69, something like that.
I thought it was like 7.
I know my granddad was in it. So I couldn't really tell you because I don't keep like I'm a big World War II guy, but when it comes to World War One or it comes to like Vietnam stuff like that, Korean, I don't know a whole lot about it.
Even that, I mean, well, the propaganda was more obvious with the World War II.
World War II was the biggest. Yeah, World War II was the biggest propaganda push ever.
Yeah,
and it wasn't just propaganda on our side; it was propaganda across the world.
Yep.
Like the Russians were doing it, Germans were doing it, England was doing it, we were doing it, Japan was doing it. Like name a spot, and everybody had their own campaigns that were pushing propaganda to keep their people fighting.
Yep.
1954.
Oh, well, see, I was way off. Yeah, so they go 1954.
So I think we've had propaganda since before then. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's a good possibility. It's a very good point.
It's just now we're in the age of information where all information is at our fingertips, and so.
But the problem is now you have to look at what information you're getting.
You have to dig.
Because the thing is when you go and just let's say I wanted to here's a perfect example. I wish Nahesu was here for this. I really do, because I wanted to look up, were black people really from Africa or were they really Indian? Because that was something he brought up his last time, and I mean nothing but propaganda popped up, and I was like, I can't find a fact on this. Like I can't find what he's talking about. So when he came here, I was going to ask him for sources. So I go look it up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately, he didn't make it today.
Yeah.
But the thing is like it was stuff like that. It's like, God damn, there's so much propaganda out here. Like you don't know what's real fact anymore.
It was funny because I don't know if it was
books, man. Just read books.
I don't know if it was Vice or if it was some other like liberal outlet, and they were talking about how a lot of, or even the Indians were on the side of the Confederacy or something like that, or some tribes were on the side of the Confederacy and they themselves owned slaves, and they showed a picture of the headdress and everything, and they had their what's called, but they look black, and I was like, oh shit. And I forgot to screenshot it and send it to Nihisu because I was gonna say, "Hey, fucker! Like I've seen, like you were showing me this," but it was a major outlet.
He is the second person that's told me that. So that's why I wanted to start digging on it and kind of find some truth to it.
Yeah, it's a growing thing on social media among a certain group of black people.
Actually, to be honest, he's the third person that's told me that, because I think I had a conversation with a lady on a DART bus, and she was talking about that same thing. Like, yeah, my grandmother said that we weren't from Africa, we were from here, we were Indian. it's weird because I tried to pull it up and I really did try to find it, but there was one guy, it was a black dude, who kept telling black people that they weren't Indian, that this was all a facade, that, you know, this was just some cooped up shit your grandparents made up to make themselves feel better. So then he went out, and I can't find it, but he went out and he did a DNA test in New York of over like 100 and something black people. He just went through and just DNA swapped them. And then he went back, because he's a geneticist, is what he does. He goes back and he does all the research, and he calls them out one by one, and it's like, no, you're more white than you. You have no Native American in you at all. But to Nahisu's point, who's doing the DNA testing on Indians when you're not even allowed on the reservation? So, yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of, I don't know. That's a rabbit hole you can go down for decades. Because I've been in that rabbit hole for a little while, trying to figure out if what he says holds water. Because it's not that I don't believe him. It's just, it's a far stretch.
Right.
So for me, something that I've learned my whole life kind of gets turned upside down. Now I want to know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
It was the same thing with the Vikings. When I found out, you know, that I had more Viking DNA in me than anything, I was like, oh, what did they do? What are they? Oh, and then I go look at them like, damn, them people are fucking raw.
Yeah. Vikings were some gangster motherfuckers.
Speaking of, you were going to tell me a story if I brought you back on the podcast about your uncle.
Oh.
And I want to know if you'll do it.
Okay. All right.
Will you tell the story?
Okay. So.
Let's go. Let's fucking go. I want to hear it.
So you can dig this up because my sister did. My uncle was. No. Sorry. No. It was like my great. Wait, did I tell you? It was a historical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a historical.
Okay, so it wasn't my uncle. It was like a great-grandfather. So this man is from Mexico. He was raised by white people. He was given a good education. He ended up becoming a lawyer. He ended up fighting for a lot of Mexicans who were losing their land to white people, to the banks and things like that. And he was winning. He was winning a lot. So he had a lot of assassination attempts on him. Well, along with being educated, he was very good with the gun. And
that's a dangerous man.
This man was labeled, and my sister found this out, right? Because it was just my grandma who used to tell these stories about, you know, our grandfather who, you know, would help out the Mexican people, this and that. And she looked him up, and apparently he was called the Anglo assassin because he killed so many white people.
Oh, the Anglo assassin.
The Anglo-assassin.
So not Anglo-Saxon, but Anglo-assassin.
Damn.
That's clever.
And so,
and fucked up, by the way.
Yeah.
I got Anglo-Saxon in me, so that's fucked up.
So she would constantly tell them about stories about he'd be at the barbershop. They'd constantly try to get him in like compromising positions. And he'd be at the barbershop, and the barber would, you know, but the people were on his side. So they'd be like, hey, like, they're outside waiting for you, you know, da da da. He goes, okay. So he'd go around the bag, come around, and just have a big old fucking shootout. Majority of the time, kill these people. And it was always white people.
So it was more than one attempt. It wasn't just
it
one
was
attempt. It was like
multiple attempts.
And he won every gunfight.
Apparently,
this guy's like fucking Billy the Kid with the pistol, man.
They gave him the label, but yes, he was the Anglo assassin. That's like.
Well, how did he die? Do you know?
I don't. She didn't tell me. My sister's the one who found the articles and everything like that. So she was like, he's real, and I'm like, what? And she's like, the story our grandma used to tell us. He's a real person. They called him the Anglo assassin because he killed so many white people. I'm like, oh my god,
that's fucking nuts.
But yeah. So so I got my own little fucking gangster fucking lineage.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I get it. Yeah, I learned about Vikings, and I was just like, the more I dove in it, the more I was like, I started to understand my personality traits a little bit more at a time, and then I got into the darker history, and I was like, ugh, y'all are fucking nuts, man. Like, I would have been the only one in the tribe, be like, can we not do that? This sounds like a bad idea.
All right.
I was gonna say, have you heard of their torture tactics?
Do we need to assassinate babies? Because like,
or
let's be honest here.
Their torture tactics, or their what is their types of execution?
Well, I heard about the big one is the Blood Eagle.
Yeah,
that's the big one where they took they would separate your ribs from your spine, like your rib cage from your spine, pull it out with your lungs, and like from your back, and leave you there. But I think it's made up. I don't think it's real.
Or they flip it out.
Yeah, I think it's fake because there's a lot of doctors, a lot of surgeons, neurosurgeons, and so on, right? That'll tell you that it doesn't work that way. Then again, I don't think they've ever done it. So there might have been an instance where someone did something like that, and then they were like, "Holy God!" and then they just had it labeled it a thing. But I don't think it was a real thing. But there was a lot of other torture techniques, and they were really good at psychological warfare more so than anything. And that was kind of their stick because they would paint their face up and, you know, do chants, and they would stand on the beach and just beat their chest and like beat their, their shields. And everybody would be like, what's going on? Like, what is this? And then, you know, all the badasses in England would show up. But then by that time it was too late and they were already like murdering everybody.
Yeah.
They were psychologically able to
defeat their enemy.
Defeat their enemy, but also way on the battlefield. So like they were really good at like the Berserker came about. They would take the biggest guys they had and they would dope them up on fucking drugs and shit, and they would send them out there with swords and axes and they'd just go ham.
Yeah.
And they were bloodthirsty creatures. Like I'm not proud of that. It's just it's a part of my history.
It's a part of everyone's history.
Yeah, it's not something that I hype up like, yeah, this is my shit. No, I don't agree with half of what they did. Like what they did was, they were taking over monasteries and people didn't even have weapons. Like that's pretty fucked up. And they were stealing all their shit and then taking it back and be like, look what we found.
I don't know, man, but my ancestors were sacrificing women and children, ripping out their still beating hearts at the top of a pyramid to the sun god. So I don't know.
Exactly. See my point? So like you take your ancestors with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because
it's something I tell everybody that's really big into ancestors and spirituality and stuff. I tell them, I'm like, hey, take your ancestors with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because I don't know. They always, who is it? Like the old folks always, hype up the Aztecs and the Mayans and da da da. I'm like, they were some evil motherfuckers, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and this is just me with my own ancestors. I'm like, dude, we sacrificed, we ripped out the still beating hearts of babies, and women. The most defenseless ones, to sacrifice to the sun gods. I mean, at least do it with the men or something. Women and babies,
or just build a better irrigation system. I mean, whatever. Like if you're praying for rain and then water is what you need. I was watching. I told you that last podcast, and I was watching how they the lost city of Machu Picchu or Machu Picchu, some shit like that, right? And they were showing how they channeled canals from the river to feed the crops, and how they had drinking fountains, and it was all fresh water, and it was filtration systems and stuff designed many years ago. So a long time ago, they would be able to filter out the mud, and they used compacted compost and dirt to filter out water to keep fresh water in the village. It was dope, bro. It was really cool how they did things. But I was like, yeah, but they also sacrificed babies, so yeah, we're just not gonna skip over that part.
Well, that's the thing is if you're that advanced, to understand that kind of thing,
they understood agriculture.
Yeah, then
they were Mexicans.
I don't know,
I'm sorry, but I keep getting back to this. Come on, guys. Let's be honest here. Who do you call when you need something replaced?
Man, I don't know. But
So,
well, I don't know. Like I said, if they can understand all this, but still were sacrificing babies and women to the sun god, I don't know.
Well, Mexico water's scarce, so they
Really?
didn't know what to do. Yeah, in some parts, especially where the Aztec pyramids are. Now you have to understand, backdating thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years, it might have been a different agriculture, it might have been a different land, it might have been a different reason. But most of the time, I watch too many documentaries. That's my fucking problem. But most of the time, there was really dry, desolate lands, and they were trying to get water there. So instead of building where there's water, they just decided to sacrifice babies to the sun god. They're not the only ones that did it. We did sacrifices every year 4 times a year. So don't think that you're the only one.
How many sacrifices though? You said 4 times. Is it
4,
just one
like,
person?
so-
One person a year, 4 times a year?
So there would be, I think, okay, no, oh God, there's going to be a lot of pagans mad at me. I'm pretty sure there was one in, no, Esther wasn't one. Esther's like Easter, what they call Easter now is Esther. It was a fertility thing, yeah. I know that, well, you have to understand, they sacrificed their enemies, so that's that, right? They would make, they would capture one, make an example out of them.
I mean, I get that.
And then there would be one on the equinox. There would be one, they would sacrifice, I don't know, they sacrificed animals actually more than they did people, believe it or not. But
Reasonable.
they did sacrifice people.
But how many people?
And they were all like virgins and whatever. They would sacrifice them to the gods. Dude, I can't even tell you. I don't know enough about their history. I just kind of started learning the Norse pagan life, so I couldn't really tell you how many, but I know that they did. I do know that to be a fact. Now, how many, I don't know, but I do know the Aztec sacrificed thousands of people
in like days.
In a matter of days, yeah. Now, how much of that is true? There was somebody that went back and did a thing on that. Excuse me, that were talking about how that would have been almost impossible because they broke down the math, and it would have been like one person every fifth of a second or something like that to be able to keep up with the time frame, they said. But they did find mass graves out there, so there's got to be some truth to it.
Latin America Studies.org. 16 states. 20,000 were sacrificed yearly in the capital city alone.
That's a lot of people.
Another reports this as 20,000 infants. And a third claims the same number as being slaughtered through the Aztec Empire on a single particular day.
That's a lot of people.
So 20,000 a year.
Yeah, I don't think they did that many. I think it was like 4 a year, maybe at most.
Yeah. Okay.
But they did damn near conquer England. So you have to keep into account that they probably killed a lot more than 20,000 a year. So,
I mean, conquering is one thing.
Yeah, well, Genghis Khan populated in half the earth and conquered majority of it. So when you think about the story of Genghis Khan, I don't know if he had like super sperm.
Look up the story of the tale of one of his daughters. Have you heard about his daughter?
No, I didn't. No.
So she was called like the warrior princess or something like that.
Was she Xena?
No.
Did she have like the little chakras?
No. She was
a show in the 90s.
I know. I used to watch it. I used to be like, oh.
I think we all did.
Yeah,
we all did. We all had those moments.
I was like, dude, she's so good. Anyways, she was
the most unconventional weapon ever, too. By the way, not a sword, but like circles with blades on the end. Dude. That's what she fought with. Figure that out.
But she had told her dad, Genghis, that she didn't want to be married off just to anybody. That she wanted to decide her suitor.
Oh,
yes, you heard about this? You heard about this?
Yeah. She wanted to be married off to the baddest motherfucker. She beat everybody in the camp, right? She beat every dude that came across. All people were coming across like lands and like sea by air. Fuck it, they were coming here, right? And they were like, "I challenge you to a fight because I want to fuck." That's really what it was.
Yeah.
And she beat all of them. I remember that. I don't remember the ending of it, but I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah. I was like, what the? Yeah.
So you had to whoop. You had to beat
her in a hand-to-hand combat in order to get the vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was not giving that up to anybody. No fuck boys allowed.
Do you know what
no weaklings?
The price of entry was?
What?
100 horses.
Yep.
The price to challenge her was 100
horses. Yeah, the challenger, was it 100? Damn. Okay, I didn't even know. I thought it was like 10 or some shit, but like it was 100 horses. So like you think about like you had to show up with 100 horses, so you got to have money. You know money. You know people with money can't fight. Let's be real, right? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like they had boxing matches back then. Like this is, they weren't bringing prize fighters. They were bringing themselves. So like, a prince finna get his ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? We've all seen Game of Thrones. Don't act like I'm lying. But that's my point. So like, yeah, they show up, get their ass whooped. Now she got 100 horses.
Mm-hmm.
But Genghis Khan was like, I think it was somewhere around 90% of Asia right now is genetically connected to him. He populated half of the earth.
I'm pretty sure AIDS.
He was like pillaging and fucking is all he did.
But I'm pretty sure like AIDS and shit still existed
he
back then, right?
He wouldn't have mattered if it did. He got in half the world vagina.
I don't know. I'm still under the impression
it didn't matter what it was. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm in awe of like how the hell did you manage to do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like you conquer is one thing.
Right.
But like to conquer and be like, that's not enough. Where is your energy coming from, bro? Because like I don't even have the energy to get up in the morning without a cup of coffee. You're out here conquering and fucking almost 24 hours a day.
Hey, men were men back then.
Bro, they were definitely built different. Where did the energy come from is what I want to know. That's, to me, is crazy. I don't know. In my little head, I'm just trying to picture it. And I'm like, there's no way.
I don't know, man. Conquer, be conquered. That was the way of the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I kind of get to about the U.S. Like, when I talk to people, I'm like, when they start bringing up 1836 or whatever, and I'm just like, dude, like, that was how it was back then.
Yeah.
conquer or be conquered. Look at England.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even like,
England is the prime example of conquering. Because they conquered almost everywhere. They had ties and stuff into everywhere. America's only 273 years old or some shit like that. Like, we're pretty relatively new. When you think about England, they're thousands of years old. Russia's thousands of years old. China's millions of years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they've been set in stone. Why is America always the one under attack? I think it's because it was the most
new
recent.
kid on the block.
The new kid on the block. Like, we did what y'all
Yo,
did. Like,
what?
I don't understand the problem.
We were just doing what everyone else was doing.
Yeah, but like you think about what they did with Scotland, right? So like look at England and Scotland. They held Scotland under their thumb forever. And then when William Wallace came out and he fought back and he rose up and the Scottish rose up against England and they were defeated, they took Scotland back. So they were just like, France is next. You know what I'm saying?
God.
Like they just conquered shit. They just did shit. And like no one calls them out on it. But somehow America keeps getting called out on this shit. I don't understand it.
People don't like, I don't know, people never take the time to notice the fact that it was actually Britain who conquered America.
Technically.
I mean,
yeah.
you know, none of us are British anymore.
Which is weird because I've talked to Fred about this a couple of times, and you remember this when I say that, like, it's weird that, like, the world wants to be here, but we want to be so much like England. It's ridiculous. Politically. Like, think about politically, the left wants to be England. And
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, it's right there. You could just hop a plane and you're there, man.
Hop on over.
No one's stopping you. Like, you can make a little bit of money, you know, save up your bread. England's right there. They take anybody.
Yeah, but
They
I
don't
mean,
discriminate.
But the conquering thing has gone back like to the beginning of the human race. Like,
Yeah, it has.
because there were actually 8 other species of human that we
Really?
killed. Yes,
Yeah.
we're the dominant species.
Yeah, we dominated. So archaeologists have gone back and found that there's like so many different types of humans that lived in the exact same time. So you think about the pygmy people, the Gigantopithecus, and like
The Neanderthals.
the Neanderthals, and I mean there's a whole list of them, and we conquered all of them. Just see, conquering was what we did. You have to understand the times. If you had food, I don't have food. I need to survive. I'm going to take your food. It's not like that was the animal thinking. Animals do that now. So that's what I say. There's not a huge disconnect from animals and people. When you look at how animals act, and then you kind of just take a step back from yourself, look at animals, and then look at people. We're damn near identical. We do animal shit all the time.
Yeah.
It is what it is, man.
Yep, since the beginning of time, man. Like I said, it ain't nothing new. we're just soft. We're so soft now. This I don't know. A lot of our problems are first world problems.
There's something that my wife brought up that blew my mind, and science can't figure out why during war times that women will birth more men than women. Mind blown. Look at that. You see that? That's the
What?
mind blown. Yes, it's true. I'll look it up. Let me find it for you. But yes, I'm going to show you. She tagged me on Facebook in it. And it was weird because science can't understand why it happens, but they call it the returning soldier syndrome.
Dude.
Yep. Let me see if this is it. Nope, that's the turtle that popped up on our doorstep yesterday, randomly. Yeah, I had a random turtle pop up on my door. It was the weirdest thing.
All right. Turtles are dope, man. I like turtles.
No, my wife does too, but I'm just saying, like, the way it just popped up, like, his wife walked out, she just started screaming. She's like, there's a turtle out here. Yeah, I'm trying to find the article that she sent me, but it's called Returning Soldier Syndrome, and it's basically during war times that women give birth to men more than women, or more than girls.
So okay, so isn't it?
So the birth rate of men becomes higher during war times.
But
I can't find it. I'll
But
send it to Fred later. He'll
quick
put
question
it.
though. So, but isn't it? If I'm right, isn't it males who decide the sex of the baby?
Nope.
No.
You thought? See, that's what they used to think back then.
Okay. So then I'm wrong. So the science is updated.
Oh wait.
Yeah, I think it's male.
It is men.
Yeah,
I'm
'cause-
sorry, I was wrong. I heard it backwards in my head. I have hearing dyslexia.
Okay.
You have to
So
excuse me.
males decide the sex of the baby.
Yes, males decide
So-
the sex of the baby. So that's when the kings used to like throw their wives off a cliff because they couldn't give them a son.
So
Yeah, it was that
so
kind of thing.
I know that the sex is decided when they're exposed either to more testosterone or to more estrogen during the developmental stage, right?
Well, you would think, right? But I take testosterone shots. I'm pretty big into working out, and I do a lot of testosterone therapy and ECG or whatever they call that shit that you have to like inject in your stomach. I do a lot of those, and I have a daughter. So you would think that would have been the case. I did this for the son, and I got a daughter.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if any of that stuff works because my dad did that stuff for a while, and his testosterone levels didn't change. He did the whole what's it called.
He needed more.
Maybe, but
yeah, he needed more.
But
some people are different. Like every guy is different. Like there's some
true.
guys that never need testosterone a day in their life.
But
they're just those fucking like Bradley Cooper, ripped, shredded guys all the time.
I was gonna say, but did you hear the study that said that an average male today has the testosterone levels of like a 90-year-old in the 50s?
I believe that. Yeah, I have heard something like that.
Well, so do you think during war times is because there's more testosterone flowing in the men?
I think there is. So I think it's biological. I think it goes back to primitive days when we needed men. Women don't fight wars. I'm sorry. You could get mad at me. Like if feminists can come at me all day. It doesn't matter. Look, we'll look at the facts. Like my grandfather's brother died in a war, and there were no women there. So be mad about it. But the point is I think it goes back to the day, like way back in the Neanderthal days, where if we're in trouble, we need men. So men would produce men, and very rarely you'd probably get a female. And then she just becomes a birther, because that's what your job is. Your job is to create life. So I think during wartime, a man's mind is like primitively and maybe even subconsciously is like, we need men to fight these wars or to carry on the legacy of the men that have died. Yeah. But it is a real thing. It is a real,
no,
like,
I
100% look it up.
I believe
100% look it up. It's real.
I believe it. I'll take you at your face, but I ain't gonna believe it. I don't know.
I only bring facts to the table.
I take conversations in good faith. I don't believe you'll lie to me.
All right.
But yeah,
that's crazy.
It is during wartime. Yeah.
I think it's because there's got to be more testosterone in the men though, because
it's possible
during times of violence, man. You gotta get
jacked, son.
So yeah,
you gotta get ready.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But the testosterone thing in men that's why I say, like, when trans people are going to get like the synthetic testosterone, it's not the same thing, because like when I have I have both, right? So I have testosterone naturally, and then I have I take synthetics. I take shots. And the only reason I take shots is not really so much that it's for the energy, and it's to get myself level mentally. Because when I fall off, I can feel it. I get more depressed. I get more like emotional, and my estrogen levels rise above. Because we have both in our body.
Yep.
You know that, right?
Yeah.
So when your estrogen levels rise, I know, because I start getting sensitive, and I'm like, oh, I need to take my estrogen blockers. That's what it is. Like, that's when I know. It's weird. I know. Look. I'm with you. Science shit, right? Like I'm with you. I think it's weird too, but like the actual like physical male testosterone is like 500 times more potent than the shit you inject in your thighs and legs. Yeah, I know that for a fact, because like I know it when I work out. That's really when I know, when I work out and I start feeling my actual testosterone. You know, like I start getting like you ever gotten into a workout? Like not so much like, okay, I got one more rep to go, I can do this. No, like really into it, where you're just like zoned out, the music's playing, and you're just fucking going.
Do you want to know what muscle activates that the most?
What?
The legs.
The legs?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Leg workouts activate the most amount of testosterone in your body than any other muscle group. So if you want to build if you want to build yourself up quickly, work out your legs every other day.
Oh,
don't
skip leg day.
Don't skip leg day. My cousin Julian, this kid is jacked, like huge, and he works out legs like every other day. And I was like,
I need to start doing more legs.
I was like, I hate doing legs, dude. I was like, I hate it. And he goes, no, you need to do it.
Well, the thing is, it makes sense, because up here, when you look at the male body, just look at it as like, you know, like you have a male body here, right? When you look at the muscle groups, up here is such a tiny portion compared to down there. You see what I'm saying? So working your legs, abs, glutes, all that stuff. I mean, not abs. When you work your legs, your glutes, you know, thighs and all that stuff, yeah, it makes more sense because there's a lot more muscle. The more muscle you work, the more calories you're burning, you know, and then, of course, you know, you stay within your carb limit. Not, you know.
The other thing
is it makes more sense to me.
Is weightlifting actually burns more fat than cardio?
Yeah. Cardio sucks. So
Well-
whoever decided that cardio is the big thing, fuck you, dude.
Well, what you need to oxidize your fat, right, to burn it off, as they say, is you need enough oxygen in your body for your fat to oxidize. If you're doing cardio, your heart's pumping like crazy because you're not getting enough oxygen. So you're just burning off excess carbohydrates or sugars in your body.
So cardio would be a good way to burn carbs, but actual weightlifting would be a good way to burn off
fat.
calories or fat.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I was like, man, I gotta
Just
do
learn
fucking
some shit.
run.
Man.
Yeah.
I like learning new shit. That's why I like doing these podcasts
So-
because, like, yeah, I get more information every time I do them.
Yeah, slow workouts that cause like real what's called like muscle intensity.
Like muscle strength and like or strengthening
Yeah,
exercises.
will burn more fat than cardio will.
There you go, Fred. There's your answer. To the question you didn't ask.
So that along with the caloric deficit you'll lose the most weight.
What's a
that way.
caloric deficit? What's that?
Just don't intake more than you output. You know.
Oh,
like-
calories wise.
Yes, calories,
Yeah. So
caloric.
like based on like if you did 2,000 calories a day, which is an average, or it was supposed to be the average American diet.
Mhm. So
The new average is like 6,407.
Are you serious?
It probably is.
No.
Like I said,
Like if I had to guess, because
I go off the old shit, man. I'll fucking yeah. If you have a caloric deficit, you'll lose weight quickly.
yeah, you should come out more often, man, and work out with us.
I'm
I
down.
got the weight shit over here. I got a treadmill.
Oh.
Yeah, I got 2 weight benches. Well, actually, that is a that's a what do they call it, squat rack.
Spot right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, shit, man.
But yeah, on your weekends off and you're not doing nothing, you should come down and
I'm
like,
down.
work out with us or whatever.
All right, man.
Save you a gym membership. It's free.
I mean, I don't know. I do.
Well, I don't know if you can because gas is too goddamn high right
Yeah.
now. So
Yeah. I was just realizing now here on the way here, I'm like, this is pretty fucking far. Like,
yeah, you still live in Fort Worth?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I live down the street from the Pepsi plant.
You.
Oh my God, I
Yeah.
know.
But
I'm
I'm out of there.
Blue
man.
Mountain.
Oh shit. Well, it don't matter. I don't work there anymore. I was like, I'm
Fuck
out
him.
of
I've
there.
already gone to war with him once. I'll do it again.
Oh shit. Oh, okay. All right. Man.
Yeah. I think that's it though. I think
Yeah.
want to shout out your podcast again?
Oh yeah. If y'all
socials
want
and all that
to follow me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, the Patriotic Bean. Follow my boy Nihisu. He was supposed to be here today.
Right.
I almost brought my lady on because she has her own podcast thing. Anointed Rant from a boy. This man gets into some crazy shit that sometimes I won't even touch. my
he
man gets
does.
into it. He's not afraid. He's already got 2 strikes against his channel. And then if you want to follow my lady, hers is the What the Hell It's All About podcast. We talk about more cultural stuff, about trying to change the culture in relationships and how men and women should interact with each other. And yeah, so follow her. What the Hell It's All About podcast.
So real quick, and I wanted to bring that up because that was something I was going to bring up earlier, but then we got on Aztecs and baby sacrifices. real quick, like what? So I watch her podcast. So is it? So what is it really about? Because I'm not getting a real sense of like, is it just a what is her main message? I should
Her
say?
main thing is just to try to help convey what it takes to have a successful relationship.
Okay.
She talks to a lot of her friends at work and things like that, and a lot of them have today's problems, right? You have a woman who is pushing extremely hard for a house and a baby and this and that, and you know the man's not financially ready for it, and so but she's not willing to hear him out on like why the reasoning they should wait or things like that. She has had a friend who would mistreat her stepchild, and her husband's daughter has behavioral problems because her mom is a drug addict, and so she came to live with her dad, and she was getting jealous of her stepdaughter, basically, and started mistreating her and told her husband that it was either her or her stepdaughter, and he had to pick.
Damn.
And so, you know, the whole idea of that, like, if you're gonna get into a relationship with someone who already has kids, you better be prepared to be second. The children always come first, regardless. And a lot of people don't understand that today. A lot of people think that, or a lot of people are taught to believe that their own desires come first.
So there was something that I wanted to show you. I wanted to send to her, but of course I'm gonna do it with your permission. I'm not gonna just DM your wife. Like that's fucked up. I don't do that.
See that's an old school value.
I have old school values.
Yes.
Look, I don't ever. I'm really respectful towards men and women more so than most.
Yeah.
So that is an old school value.
And her old school value that she gets criticized for is she will not go anywhere without my permission, and she will not go anywhere without me.
See, my wife does that too.
And I never told. The thing is, I never told her to do that.
I didn't tell her either. Like that, yeah. That's the weird thing. Like, but it works. Like here's the weird part that I because I love her podcast. Like I watch every one of them. I really do. Every time you send me one, you're like, hey, we just uploaded one. I'm like, I'm on it. Like, you know what I mean? But like, I watch a lot of what she's saying, and I'm like, that's so weird because like Nicole does that same thing, and we never talked about this. Like, it's just something she does. But it's strange. But yeah, she does this thing where like anytime she wants to buy something, she'll ask me. She'll be like, hey, is it cool if I buy this and that, whatever? And I'm just like, yeah. Because why are you asking me? But then I think about it. I'm like, oh, I should probably be doing that too. So I'm like, hey, is it cool if I do this? You see what I'm saying? Like, because that's communication.
Yes.
That's the one thing that's missing in 99% of relationships is the communication. So I realized it, and I was like, oh. So when she spoke about that on the podcast, about the communication being the key, and I was like, yeah, that's a very good point. Like, a lot of people say that, but when you get it from couples, like, because you and your wife have been going strong for forever. And me and mine have been going strong for 6, almost 7 years. And we're like the ideals. Like people come to us and like, how do y'all are so good together. Like, I just don't understand. I was like, it takes work. It really does. It takes like not lying. That's the main thing. Stop lying and tell the truth. And that's some of the stuff that she's throwing out there. Here's what I wanted to send her. And I want to bring it up to you so you can hear it. Let me see if I can get this. There it goes. All right, let's see. All right, it is this. All right, I'm going to screen record this one real quick so we can put it up here. I want you to see if you can hear this. Where's your volume for it? There it is. Turn that all the way up. All right, here we go.
Hey girls, so I want to give you girls a little bit more tips on how I manipulate men. And I told you girls, when you first meet a guy, listen to everything they're saying because you can use their strength and their weaknesses against them. So for example, if they're a businessman and they're constantly bragging about how good they are, their businesses are going, you can say, babe, I know that you're struggling a little bit and I'm not too sure if you can help me out, but A, B, and C, D, this is what I need. They are going to be triggered. They're going to be like, wait, what do you mean, babe? I can help you out. I'm not struggling financially. Like, what are you talking about? You are triggering emotion out of them to get something you want. Do you see where I'm coming? And you girls are like so scared. Y'all just have to be bold for this and make it sound very innocent. You do not want to offend him. We can do this with our baby voices. If he's a doctor, you can use his strengths against him. Like, he's super smart. You can say, babe, I know you're just a doctor, but do you know anything about this? He's gonna be like, yeah, just because I'm a doctor doesn't mean I don't know. He will give you full-on details on everything. He'll probably even do research to tell you about this topic. Like, use these guys' strength to their advantage to get what you want out of them. For example, if he used to have a really abusive dad, you can call him later on in the relationship. This is all fake. You can make up a fake ass story and be like, baby, I just got off the phone with my dad and he was yelling at me and he told me like he's not paying my car insurance anymore and I just don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. Do you have any advice? Now that he has that kind of connection with you and the dad relationship with his, he is going to step up and he's going to be like, well, babe, how much is it? How much is it? You know, like, are you okay? Yada, yada. It's all a big ass mind game. Yeah, use their strengths against them, their weaknesses against them. And even when I was telling you girls, like in the beginning, just listen to everything they're saying so you have an idea on who you're really talking to, how the way you can talk to them.
So it just goes on and on. It goes on and on for like 5 minutes of just that. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's predatory women. I mean, it's In the same way, you'll have men lie to a woman to have sex with her. I mean, you have women lie to men to get what they would need out of them financially or otherwise.
I would love to hear your wife's view on this.
It's so funny because I saw the follow-up video to this one where she was like, all these people talking about, you know, what I do and this and that. She goes, I don't give a fuck if they're heartbroken or if they feel played. And I saw the follow-up video. I was actually going to approach my wife about this.
Oh, well, there
So,
you go.
yeah.
I got part 1, so.
Okay, yeah, if you found part 1, yeah, because I couldn't find that video.
Yeah, I'll just send it to you, and then if you want to give it to her, that's fine.
Yeah.
I would love to hear her take on this, because she does have old school values.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
All right. Yeah, I'll get her candid what's it called about it too.
Hell yeah, I'm with it. Anyway, I think that's it. We're approaching like 2 hours and 20 minutes here.
Sheesh.
I got some other shit to do, so I think we're out of here.
All right, peace.
Peace, y'all.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down on the bottom below. Also, if you're new, make sure you hit the notification bell so you're notified anytime new videos upload.
And also, don't forget to hit us up on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify. And for exclusive content, we also have a website, which will be in the description below.
Yep.
All right.
All right, we're out of here.
Peace.